An 87-year-old man is dying. He has epilepsy, so doctors wired his skull to an EEG to watch for seizures. Then his heart stops. Nobody planned for this. The machine keeps recording. For the first time in history, a human brain is dying on tape. And in the 30 seconds around the moment his blood stops moving, the brain does not go quiet. It surges. A burst of gamma waves. The fastest rhythm your brain can make. The exact pattern that fires when you dream, when you remember, when you reach back into your own past and pull a face out of the dark. Right as he died, his brain lit up like it was remembering something. So here is the question. Hold it. Carry it the whole way down. Because at the end, it stops being about him. It points at you. Stay till the end. This one is about you. You make gamma waves right now, reading this. They are the brain at its most awake. Concentration, meditation, and memory. When you recall your mother's voice, or a room you have not seen in 20 years, gamma is the wave carrying it. It is the signature of an inner world, of experience happening. So picture it. The heart has stopped. No blood. No oxygen reaching the tissue. By every rule we were taught, the lights should be going out. Instead, the brain floods with the one wave that means a memory is playing. Dr. Ajmal Zemar published the case in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience in 2022. He chose his words carefully. The brain may replay memory as it dies. One brain, one man. It could be a fluke. Hold that thought, because it was not the only time. You were taught that death is a switch. On, off, alive, then nothing, in a single instant. That is wrong. Death is not a moment. It is a process. It unfolds, over seconds, over minutes. The heart stops, and the brain does not vanish. It begins a sequence. A slow, ordered collapse with stages we can now watch and measure. And here is the part that should keep you up tonight. Parts of that process can be undone. The line between alive and dead is not a line at all. It is a smear, a gray zone, a few minutes wide, where the machine is still recording, and nobody can tell you which side of it that 87-year-old man was on. So what is actually moving in those minutes? Something physical, something you can watch crawl across the brain.
When the blood stops, the oxygen stops. Every neuron runs tiny pumps that hold the cell's charge in place. Sodium out, potassium in. The engines of staying alive. Without fuel, the pumps fail. And when they fail, they do not fail quietly. A wave of electrical collapse sweeps across the cortex. A literal wave. You could watch it crawl over the surface of the brain, like a shadow moving across a field. Jens Dreyer's team named it in the Annals of Neurology in 2018. Terminal spreading depolarization. The wave of death. It arrives about 5 minutes after the blood runs out. And for those few minutes before it, the brain is not gone. Bring the blood back, and the neurons climb back up. The dead come home. Let it run, and the door closes for good. The wave is the point of no return, moving toward you in slow motion. But before the shadow reaches the far side, the dying brain does something that broke the scientists' expectations entirely. Go back to 2013, the University of Michigan. Jimo Borjigian is watching the brains of rats at the instant their hearts stop. She expects noise, static, a system falling apart. That is not what the data shows. For about 30 seconds after the heart stops, the dying brain surges with gamma. And it is not chaos. It is organized, coherent. The regions talk to each other in tight, structured rhythm. By some measures, more connected than when the animal was wide awake and alive. Read that again. The brain, with no heartbeat, no blood, no oxygen, briefly looked more alive than living, like something switched into a higher gear, just as the engine ran out of fuel. Published in PNAS, in a rat. The obvious question hung in the air for a decade. Does this happen to us?
In 2023, Borjigin's team answered it. 4 people, comatose, taken off life support, their families letting go. The EEG still running. In 2 of them, as they died, the gamma surge came back, and it lit up one specific place, the back of the cortex, the temporo-parieto-occipital junction. Scientists call it the hot zone. It is the region that lights up when you have a vivid dream, when you have an experience you can feel from the inside. In a dying human brain, with no future, no blood, no reason to do anything at all, the seat of conscious experience switched on. Not the man with epilepsy alone now, a pattern, across species, across people. The dying brain keeps doing the same impossible thing, and thousands of people have come back to tell us what it was like. Dr. Sam Parnia spent years chasing this. His AWARE studies are the largest ever done on the mind at death. 2,060 cardiac arrests across more than 15 hospitals, 330 people who came back, 101 who sat down and described what happened inside the dark. Some recalled fear. Some recalled peace so complete it changed them forever. A light, a tunnel, a sense of moving toward something. Beings that felt like they were waiting, and his team did not wave it away. They judged these experiences as distinct from hallucination, distinct from dream, distinct from illusion. Something with structure, told by strangers who never met, in different cities, in different years, and one part of that pattern lines up exactly with the gamma surge.
The life review. Seeing your life flash before your eyes, we treat it as a cliché, a thing that happens in movies. But the survivors describe it as real, vivid, ordered, not as a phrase, as an event, choices, faces, moments they had forgotten they owned, relived, not recalled. And now look at what you are holding, Gamma, the wave of memory, flooding the dying brain, rising in the seat of experience, the physical machinery of replaying a life, switching on at the exact moment people report replaying their lives. This is the question I asked you to carry. Right as he died, his brain lit up like it was remembering. Maybe it was. Maybe the life review is not a story we tell about death. Maybe it is what the brain actually does. The thing we assumed was a fairy tale may have a fingerprint in the data, and we are only now learning to watch it happen. There is more. You were probably taught the 10-minute rule. 10 minutes without a pulse, and the brain is gone for good. Throw it out. In the AWARE data, with hands still pushing on chests, Parnia's team recorded the brain coming back, electrical activity, spikes, gamma. Long past the 10-minute line everyone treated as final. The brain was not gone. It was waiting, down in the gray zone, with the door still cracked open. Death arrives later than we thought, and softer. The boundary we drew in hard ink turns out to be drawn in water. People crossed part of the way and came home, which leaves us standing at the one door nobody on Earth can answer for, yet.
Here is where honest scientists stop and choose their words with care. A gamma surge indicates the machinery of consciousness. It does not, on its own, prove the man was experiencing anything. It indicates. It does not prove. Zamar, Borjigin, Parnia, every one of them holds that line. And that gap is not a weakness in the story. That gap is the story. Because nobody has ever crossed all the way through that door and come back with the final answer in their hands. Not one human who ever lived. This is not a closed case in a dusty book. This is the literal edge of what we know about ourselves, being mapped right now by people who are still inside the mystery. The frontier is not some distant galaxy. It is the inside of your own skull, in your final minute. And the breakthrough that finally reads what happens in there might come in your lifetime, maybe from someone watching this. So bring it home, to you. One day, and there is no exception written for you, your heart will take its last beat, not as a fact in a study, as the actual last 30 seconds of the only life you get. And if these scientists are right, your brain will not simply switch off. It may surge. The wave of memory may rise one final time, and it will reach for something to play. Here is the part that should change how you spend tomorrow. If your dying brain replays a life, it can only replay the one you actually lived, the faces you chose to look at, the people you let close, the ordinary afternoons you did not think were sacred. That is the material. That is all it has. If this kept you leaning closer, if you want to keep standing at the edge of what science is just beginning to understand, subscribe and stay with Eonz. Because the question was never really about the 87-year-old man on the table. It was always this. When your brain plays its final 30 seconds, who will be in it? Choose them now, while the recording is still running.